Hey, welcome back to Mike's Diabetes World. Another fun, exciting day. Okay, current blood sugar. So, this is 6, fully calibrated. Didn't have many corrections that night. But earlier, I was up quite high. From about 8 till 9, they gave me a correction of 12.65 units of insulin. And I also gave an injection, and I came down. Thank God. And then I went right into my night routine till now, and it's all hunky-dory. Oh, but then we take a look here. Last 24 hours, 40% time in range. Got to work on that today. Above 10 is 60% of the time. I was above 10 yesterday. And this has crept up. The average sugar is 11.9. This is not good. This morning I want to talk to you about guilt and T1D. Dun, 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 dun. We'll be right back. This channel is provided for informational purposes only. Contact your physician for any diagnostic or treatment plan. Okay. Guilt and T1D. When you get T1D as a young kid or a child even, there seems to be an awful lot of guilt. I've done a guilt video before. That was more from parents' viewpoint and how being guilt can really mess with them. And it's fine. Your son or daughter is being handed a major disease that they have to deal with. And I know they've called it an imbalance and everything, but if you don't take care of it, it's going to be straight out a problem. As kids, we pick up so much. And a lot of kids or children will hear, oh, Betsy, he's got diabetes. He won't live long. And children will portray this onto the person with diabetes. And that is wrong. I like the idea that the parent and the son or the daughter talk to their friends before returning to school, or the first day of school, and letting the myths out. we keep forgetting how guilt can mess with a child. Feelings of inadequacy, especially in the teenage years. Oh, I'm not feeling good. Oh, it's, all my fault. Let me get it straight out there right now. It's not your fault you have T1D. It's not kind of like you said, oh yes, please, I'd like diabetes, please. Oh, can I have some? But a lot of cliques, especially in high school, when I came back to high school, my first year of high school, grade 8, well, in Vancouver, there was no middle schools. You were from elementary school right into high school. Don't know if it worked better, but still, when I left, or when I entered grade 8, I was this fat kid, not the slender guy I am now. Yeah, right. But I entered, so I was picked and bullied. It was only a month. And then I lost so much weight. I can remember failing grade 9 English. And of course, part of that school year, or school semester, I had to go back into the hospital to get readjusted or get back into control because I was out of control. A growing young teenager. It happened. And I failed English, and this guy was his last year of teaching. He didn't really care. He just said, well, you weren't here for my classes, so I said, I didn't have an option. Well, if you were really serious about your studies, you would have got here. And I felt like, yeah, it's all these diabetic fault. That could have been a true statement if it was because of me that I ended up back in the hospital. It wasn't. I was having problems controlling my blood sugar. In fact, I was going low. But he decided I wasn't there, so. And he said, I don't believe in catch up or doing tests or anything. You failed my class, so that's it. When I brought home my report card, my parents said at first it was, well, why did you fail? And I said, well, he said it was because I wasn't there. I had to go to summer school, but I got through grade 9 English. And then grade 10, I started. I don't want anyone to feel inadequate. The only time you should feel inadequate, and this is, I don't want anyone really to ever feel inadequate because they have diabetes. If you're playing around with your blood sugars and you're craving the attention, well, maybe you need to take care of things, but that may stem from guilt too. You want to be normal. You want to get out there and live your life. When I had diabetes in grade 8 entering high school, it was a completely different animal we were discussing. You had to eat at certain times. You had to boil your insulin needles. Well, that quickly changed, but you were made felt different if you had a low blood sugar. And I went through that one year, my grade 9 year, where I was having severe low blood sugars. Every day I ended up down at the nurse's office. I really felt different when I was in high school and somebody thought it was great that they would go and they would set off the school alarms and everyone would have to get out, and they got out of classes and half the student body didn't even bother going back. But I had a severe insulin reaction. This was back when I felt stuff, so I was sweating. And of course, the fire department arrived. They had to go through and check the building that there was no fire. And here I'm sitting out on the porch of the school that didn't end up burning. Damn, no. And they had paramedics come and hook IVs. And kids were going back and and trust me, I was marred for life. Not life, but my time at that school. But within a year, we had moved to Alberta. But all these things happen, and it's hard to learn. There was a lot of upheaval and in my life. My mom and stepfather went to work with External Affairs Canada So they left. So my mom at first was given me the information and sort of like, I have always felt like this. I was given the keys. I wasn't ready. And I've told parents this in our talks, that make sure your son or daughter is ready. I always looked for excuses on why my blood sugars were not in control. And I kept getting, well, what are you doing? Are you cheating? And those statements really pull a punch when you're not doing anything. But I was to sit there, and back then, if you wanted a piece of cake, you couldn't have a piece of cake. Now, I use piece of cake as just an example. Anything sweet. Now we know how to count carbs and take appropriate insulin. Back then, we didn't. The first year I moved with my dad into Alberta, my birthday, he ordered a cake, and the cake came. We blew out the candles, and he said, well, here, you can have an apple. Everyone else could have my cake, but I couldn't. You know, you have to think, my dad didn't really want the responsibility to learn. He kind of got a little bit of the basics, but he was off making the money. This was the early 80s, so. But a lot of what we say and our actions end up hurting. And, you know, looking back, parents make mistakes all the time. But they should be there to support the diabetes. And for myself, I got teased when it came out that I was diabetic, that it was because I ate too much sugar. No. It's something we have to live with. And in fact, if you're watching this because you're feeling guilty about having diabetes, don't. It's not your fault. People will come and throw at you vast information, and a lot of times it will be there just so that they feel superior. Don't let them. Let it roll off your back. So you have diabetes. Like they've never been sick with anything. In order to live, we have to take daily injections. We can't mysteriously go for walks every day and lose all the excess pounds and be perfect. That a lot of times works for people who have, type 2 diabetes, but for us who have type 1, it's not going to happen. Don't feel guilty. The best thing you can do to stop feeling guilty is to take care of yourself. You're just as good as anyone else, and don't ever let anyone tell you different. You're not broken. And with that, we're going to call it a day. Have a super day, and we'll talk again soon. Bye now. My email is mikesdiabetesworld@gmail.com. mikesdiabetesworld@gmail.com.